Yeah, that's me. Token vaping, guys. Why do I always do this? There we go. Boom! Um, today's juice review is a continuation of a line that I am breaking up into um, specific single videos per flavor. Now, I don't normally do it that way just because it is time consuming. Um, but not because it matters to me. It's more I feel like sometimes it may take a bit longer for the company themselves, and I don't like making people wait, longer than they have to. It's not intentional. This is a company that I have heard a lot about. I've followed them for a while on Instagram and social media, and they do have a lot of reps all over social media that I do follow, that I've talked to, things like that I'm big fans of, and the quality that they portray, the things that have been said and talked about this line, it was one that I definitely wanted to delve into and make sure that I gave as much proper respect to it as the other reps do, that they do about themselves. The company that I am talking about is Snake Oil. And I know if you guys are on Instagram at all, even just Instagram, not even other social media, Facebook, Twitter, things like that, I know you've seen them. They have a bunch of well-known faces, people that have been doing multiple posts and stuff like that for them as well. So they're not a nobody company. They're not somebody that sits in the back corner somewhere and just kind of waits for people to find them. They're out there. They're putting themselves out as much as they can, just like everybody else is nowadays. It just I I just wanted to make sure that I gave the in-depth respect to them that I tried to give everybody, and I try to be a little different with each company. I don't want to be that guy who does the same video the same way, the same speech each and every time. So I try to break it up as best I can. Um, Regardless of anything, at the end of the day, I try to be me, and I don't, as you all can tell, I don't do much editing. I don't do anything fancy, lighting, things like that. This is just me. Um, I try to be as honest as I can, as in depth as I can, and I just try to be respectful, good or bad, either way, because no matter what, everything that I'm telling you is just my opinion. Regardless of anything else, it's basically just how I take to a flavor, how I take to a brand, how I take to a line. And in no way am I trying to impose my will, my opinion, my say, my feels, anything like that on anybody. All I'm trying to do is just be a stepping stone, so to speak, to be more, to give you a more descriptive, informative outline of a flavor, a product, whatever it is, just so that it helps give you a more detailed perspective to go on to help your decisions as to whether it's something you might be interested in, something you might not be, things like that. So I just want to make sure that that's understood. Anyways, snake oil liquids. Now, this is a family-owned and operated company, which I think is really cool nowadays. They're not as common anymore as they used to be. So the fact that they're able to still keep that as the center of their mantra, their theme, their purpose, their business goals, things like that, that's totally cool. But on top of that, it also ensures that everything that they're trying to do, whether it's from the quality of the product to the detailing of how in depth they go with the inspections and making sure that everything is up to code and everything's following all the regulations that it needs to, it's sometimes easier to keep that going consistently all the way through if you keep it basically within family. It's not as hard because there's always talks about it. They're always interacting with each other. They all know each other's ins and outs, things like that. Whereas with outside people you bring in, you have to retrain them, you have to reteach them, you have to relearn them, and then you got to make sure that everybody's following the same exact vision that you have when you started it. So in some ways it is easier. In some ways, it is opening up for its own set of problems, but that's with anything. They did open They did open their doors in May of 2014. They are based out of Toronto, Canada, and it's not just snake oil. If you go to their main website, which is thevapeshore.com, you will see that the snake oil liquids is part of their main umbrella company, so to speak, which is the Vape Shore. And they do have quite a few lines underneath their name. And I think actually once you check it out and see who all is under their umbrella, you're going to be kind of shocked by what you see. I was. So it's kind of cool, but it also shows that, you know, there's a lot of top qualityness to this whole business, the name, and everything else like that. So I'm focusing right now on the snake oil brand. Now it is a 6-flavor line. I already did one for Onyx on my previous video, so if you definitely check that out. These are offered in 5 nicotine levels at 0, 1.5, 3, 6, and 12. So they do offer a little bit wider of a range than a lot of other companies. Realistically, to me, it's not about the nicotine. You know, it's more about the quality of the vape. It's more about the enjoyment of the vape. It's more about the flavorness of the vape. The nicotine, regardless, you know, as long as there's some in there, it's going to pretty much cover most people. Unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are under the false impression that they need high nicotine because they used to do this or they used to do that or they had this much of that. It's not the case. However, that's not what I'm here about today. So with that, like I said, it is a 6-flavor line, I'm sorry. Onyx was my original one. Now, as you all know, I'm a big sucker for packaging, whether it's a bottle, a label, the way that it's presented, the way that it's stored, the way that it's shipped. This company is no different than that, and I think it's really cool because the name of the line is snake oil, so it's basically going off the snake motif. And their bottles come in a burlap sack, basically, which is reminiscent of the sack that people use when, like snake catchers or they're transporting snakes. They put them in these big, thick stacks like this because it's hard for them to bust out of that. So this is actually a really cool little add-on type thing, and it has a snake oil logo basically stamped across it like you would if you were actually shipping a snake through. I don't know if they actually get shipped in a bag or not. I'm not an expert on snakes, but it's really cool because it's different, but it's not anything that is like really out there or extravagant. Along with that, they do present their flavor menu, which has their company and everything else on one side and the flavor menu on the back. So these are offered in 30 mils and 120 mils, and if you go to their website at thevapeshore.com, they will basically have the pricing and everything else on that. So what I did on the first video, which was Onyx, I basically just, since it comes in a bag like this and I can't see through the bag, to just be fair about it, you know, I'm not going to be picky, I'm not going to be anything like that, just randomly reach in like this, go like that, and I grab a bottle, and whichever bottle I do, that's the one I'm doing the flavor video on. So it's not only a first video, but it's also a surprise to me because I actually have never even looked in the bag itself. So today's one is on Emerald, and as you can see, I apologize for the glare off my light. Let me see if I can tone that down just a tiny bit for you guys. As you can see there, it is Emerald, so it is a green label. The Onyx one was black. It has the simple snake, and it says the snake oil on there. Now, their labels are not artistically extravagant, you know, but they don't need to be because that's not always what's best for what sells. You know, they do keep it simplistic, but everything that's on here needs to be is there. And it's really cool in the sense that, you know, even though it is simplistic, it's still eye-catching. You know, it makes you look at it, it makes you want to see what's on there, it makes you basically look at it. So you have the name of the company, which is Snake Oil Premium Liquid. It has the snake, obviously, needs to have that. Name of the flavor, which is Emerald. And then over here you have your, well, let me make sure, because since this is out of Canada, yes, this is your warning and ingredients side, but on this side it's in English. On this side it's in French because it's from Canada, so they have French and Canadian. They also have the VGPG, which is 75-25, so you know the cloud production is going to be pretty solid, and it should be really solid on flavor as well. And then the nicotine level here, which is 3. So everything that needs to be here is here, which is really cool. But again, if you look, it is not an extravagantly over-detailed, overdone label. It's just what it is. It also has the amber glass, so it helps contain flavor and everything else really well, and it protects against light and all of that. Now, as you noticed, it does have the cap on here, which continues to spin if you do not. There is a safety ring on there. Now, with all the new regulations and everything else that are busted out in the States, most bottles are required pretty much all to carry the safety seal. But coming out of Canada, they're a little different. I don't know if they specifically have to follow the same. I'm going to say they'll probably have to ensure specific safety requirements as well, but it's going to be a little different because it's not the US. So in this case here, it does have the safety ring, which is locked. So in order to pop that, you basically have to push down with pressure and twist this off, and I will do that here in 1 second, but I'm going to go ahead and read what the flavor profile is so that we know where we're going from here. So Emerald is supposed to be, it takes you back to your childhood, ripping both sides of the Nerds box open and dumping the entire thing in your mouth. Nerds, candy. As you all know, this should be interesting because I'm not a huge candy person, but I have heard there are a lot of people that like this flavor, so I have high hopes, but regardless either way, this is what I do. So we're gonna bust into this one here, and as I said, this spins. So now we're gonna pop this, and you should be able to hear it right there. There it is, and then it basically separates because it has the serrations all along the sides. So that's there. So first smell. Whoo! Yeah, that's definitely candy. Definitely does not fail on the smell of what it's supposed to be. It's definitely got that coating there. It almost has that powdered sugar candy coat smell, which is what that's supposed to be as well. So we're gonna go ahead and wick this, and as you can tell, I tried to make sure that I was wicked for brand new, pure white cotton. And as always, the only cotton that I use is Texas Tough Cotton. And as it says there, it's not another pansy-ass cotton ball. I'm a really big fan of the cotton ever since the first time that I've used it. And I've tried other types of cotton as well. This is one that has just worked really, really well for me. I enjoy the fact that it's denser than most other cottons. It holds juice really well. It doesn't have a very cottony taste to it, even on first wick. But it seems to last a bit longer than others that I've tried. So Instagram, Texas Tough Cotton, definitely check it out if you're looking. So I'm going to go ahead and juice this up. And while I'm juicing this real fast, as always, regardless of whatever it is you're purchasing, it doesn't even have to be involving vaping, but regardless of whatever it is in life, anytime you purchase something that has to have some type of safety security precaution on it, whether it's a wrap, a seal, security tape, a safety cap, anything, if it's there for security and safety purposes, make sure you double check it. If there is anything about it, anything at all whatsoever that gives you caution or gives you second guesses as to whether or not you want to use it, don't touch it. Don't use it. Don't try it. Contact wherever you got it from. Contact the store, the manufacturer, the distributor, whoever you need to contact. That's who you need to contact. Let them know what's going on so that they can take steps to rectify the situation and give you the proper product in the way that it was meant to be. Because at the end of the day, honestly, it's all about your health and safety. That's what's most important. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and give this a little quick pre-burn just to get the juice started flowing through the cotton. And then I'm going to juice this up a little bit more. And hopefully, oh yeah, even on the burn off smell, you can definitely get that candy out of that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get, oops, that's what I was trying to get off of there the first time. Just a little piece of hair, sorry, but I don't want to have burnt hair. There we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to go ahead and get this up, and regardless of whatever I'm using, generally my go-to vape temperature is 75 degrees. So this is Emerald from Snake Oil Premium Liquids at 75. Oh yeah. 75-25, I was absolutely, you're not going to be shorting yourself on clouds at all whatsoever. So if you are into the clouds, as you can tell, they are most definitely there, and they are pretty solid. They're not wispy, they're not see-through right away. just because. Sorry. Now, first taste. I'm going to be honest with you, very much. I am actually really, really surprised. As soon as I hear, candy, and it's supposed to be like the nerd style where there was a flavor on each side, and basically they literally say you rip both sides open, dump the whole box in your mouth. I'm expecting this overpowering, slam in your face, suffocate you in complete sugar. Guess what? Not the case. Now, don't get me wrong. It most definitely has a sugar taste to it. It most definitely has a candy taste to it. But if it's possible to have a mellow, subtle, but solid in your face candy, this would be the best way I can describe this flavor. It is very bountiful. Like throughout the entire vape, you taste it. Like there is no shortage of it. It does not dissipate. It does not disappear. However, it's still being a solid flavor. It's not an overpowering to where you feel like you just shoved a handful of candy in your mouth and now your teeth hurt because of how sweet and sugary it was. Like I said, I was impressed. I was taken aback by that because snake oil has figured out a way to give you a strong, solid, in-your-face candy taste without actually making it solidly in your face. It's actually very mellow for what it's supposed to be. But you get it throughout the entire vape, absolutely. There is no shortage of it. I'm not sitting here trying to taste it. I'm not sitting here trying to see if I actually still taste it. I still taste it now on my tongue. So it's definitely there. However, it's smooth enough and mellow enough that even me, who is not a candy fan, this is actually something that I could vape for something sweet, just something different. Even if I don't go through it as fast as I do other flavors, just keeping it on the side just for that little change up sweetness here and there, just to kind of pep up my taste buds, so to speak. That is actually really, really good. Now, I will say, for me though, tasting this, it has more of a, it's hard to say for me. Like I can't honestly say that it's going to be exactly dead on the nerd style candy. It does have that sugary taste when you first ingest them, right up until you get to the very end of the candy coating before it gets to the white part of it. There's always that sharp little tang kick that you get on that last little bit, and then it's gone. That's probably the only thing that you don't really get in this. It pretty much stays subtle and smooth throughout the vape. So for me, it's not a bad thing. But for other people who are really big candy flavor fans, that might be a little bit of a letdown for them. But other than that, I mean, for a candy flavor, that is definitely one of the more enjoyable ones that I've tried. So, Emerald Snake Oil Premium Liquids. Overall, it's a really solid candy flavor. But if you're the type that likes the overpowering, smack you in the face with it, it might seem a little weak. But regardless, either way, it is definitely a smooth vape. Absolutely no throat kick whatsoever. Clouds that you saw, definitely very solid. So overall, 2 for 2. It is so far a really great intro into this line. So I just hope that we can keep that ball rolling as I continuously do these videos for the next one. But regardless, either way, snake oil, thank you guys so very much for this privileged opportunity to do this review. Like I said, I have heard so much about your line, and this is a huge privilege for me to be able to do. So guys, definitely check them out. Facebook, Instagram, the webpage, the vapeshore.com, email them. tell your shop, get your shop to be interested in them. It is definitely unique in the sense of, you know, the labeling is different. The flavor profiles so far from what I've seen, they are a little diverse, so they're not specifically trying to stay in one specific flavor. So they're definitely offering a range to cover as many vapors as possible, so that's always a bonus. But definitely a pleasure to try. Definitely a pleasure to check out. Give them a look. Give them a follow. As always, guys, I'm Token Vaping. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you're so inclined, there is that little red button at the bottom of this screen that does say subscribe. If you feel so inclined, I would definitely appreciate it. Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Pinterest, definitely hit me up if you have any questions whatsoever, anything that I can answer, any specific type of video that you're interested in. I will definitely do my best because all I want to do is enhance your vaping experience. So until next time, guys, thank you so much again. Vape on, vape strong, and have a good night.